Research is now showing that negative school performance and attitude, among other negative outcomes, is correlated with adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. Educators are in a unique position to make a difference when it counts. Let's talk about it.
Pop-up practices, where practice makes progress. Season 3.
What are ACEs? Adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, are events that happen in the first 18 years of a person's life. ACEs include experiencing or witnessing physical or emotional violence, abuse, or neglect, growing up in a household with substance use or mental health problems, parental separation, or an incarcerated family member. The complete screener from the CDC Kaiser study is linked in the description below. For each yes response, the ACE score goes up by 1 and sums to a score between 0 and 10. What does it mean to have a non-zero ACE score? The original study included over 17,000 adult participants. The study compared their current adult health status with 8 categories of ACE. The study showed a strong, graded, and statistically significant correlation between ACEs and adult health concerns.
In Valetti 2002, of the over 17,000 adult participants, 75% were white and 75% had at least some college education.
Traumatic brain injury, fractures, burns, depression, anxiety, PTSD, unintended pregnancy, pregnancy complications and fetal death, HIV, STDs, cancer, diabetes, alcohol abuse, unsafe sex, and even educational opportunity, occupation, and income have all been shown to have graded relationships with ACEs. If studies have focused largely on clinical adult outcomes, what does this have to do with schools? We know that ACEs affect health and well-being throughout a person's lifetime. This pyramid shows the conceptual framework from studies on ACEs. The main idea being that early traumas can snowball into adoption of risky behaviors, leading to more problems if not properly addressed.
Pyramid from the CDC, mechanism by which adverse childhood experiences influence health and well-being throughout the lifespan. To the right of the pyramid is an arrow pointing up, labeled conception at the bottom, to the top, labeled death. From the bottom of the pyramid going upwards, generational embodiment/historical trauma, social conditions/local context, adverse childhood experiences, disrupted neurodevelopment, social, emotional, and cognitive impairment, adoption of health risk behavior, disease, disability, and social problems, early death.
What if we disrupt this pathway? School employees are in a unique position to provide a consistent and structured environment to all students, as well as promote positive childhood experiences and support protective factors. Importantly, if a staff member feels that a student needs mental health supports, it's key to have a procedure in place to refer the student to a mental health professional. So what can we do to support students with ACEs? Teachers and administrators can and should implement positive behavior supports, universal best practices which support all students. These supports are trauma-informed, stressing consistency and predictability for students. In the last 5 years, studies have been published with results linking higher ACE scores to lower school engagement. Similar and sometimes the same studies have also shown correlation between higher protective factors and a decrease in negative school performance or attitude.
Raghunathan et al. 2024 links higher ACE scores to lower school engagement. A bar chart is on screen from Robles et al. 2019, percent with negative school performance or attitude, which shows a graded decrease in percentage corresponding with the increase in number of protective factors. This is shown in 3 categories: child repeated grade, child does not usually complete homework, child does not usually care about school.
Strengthening protective factors also sets students up to cope with future traumas. Check out this pop-up practice on building resilience for strategies from the McDowell Institute at Bloomsburg University to support this. More resources from the McDowell Institute are available in the description below. Identify strategies that make sense for your district to help prevent ACEs from occurring. Check out the ACEs Prevention Resource for Action from the CDC, linked in the description below, for evidence-based ideas. You probably already have some in place. Consider how you can bolster existing programs, and remember that the strategies discussed are large-scale and meant to be implemented 1 or 2 at a time. Support students who have already experienced ACEs. Educate teachers and school staff about ACEs and how students who have ACEs may behave in class. For example, a student's fight, flight, or freeze response can be triggered by something seemingly very minor, such as a facial expression from an authority figure. The student might become aggressive, a fight response, or elope into the hallways, a flight response, or they might completely withdraw, a freeze response. Remember that students who are coping with trauma behave this way frequently, and that punishment, the traditional way for adults to respond to this kind of behavior, might actually make it worse. Provide teachers with evidence-based strategies for classroom management and training in trauma-informed responses. Several pop-up practices are linked in the description below that include just-in-time strategies and ideas to support classroom staff.
Pop-up practices, thinking about challenging behavior, baker's dozen, work refusal behavior, what are we missing, part 2, mental health warning signs, alternate nostril breathing.
Longer standalone trainings can also be found on the AEDY website. Comprehensive School Mental Health Approaches from Dr. Perry Rosen and The Neuropsychology of Stress and Trauma, How to Develop a Trauma-Informed School from Dr. Stephen Pfeiffer, both parts 1 and 2, are available as recorded webinars along with all of the resources from the trainings. Incorporate trauma-informed practices into your tiered systems of support. Check out the pop-up practices linked below with quick-to-implement MTSS practices for ideas.
MTSS pop-up practices, adding teacher role to the classroom matrix. Student interaction, part 1, reinforcing. Student interaction, part 2, reminding. Student interaction, part 3, redirecting. Tracking positive reinforcement with Be Positive.
For long-term and in-depth supports, here are some resources your team can use to start planning. Trauma-Sensitive Schools Training Package is a free resource from the National Center on Safe Supportive Learning Environments. It includes both trainer and participant resources along with sample timelines and an overall guide. The First Book Trauma Toolkit for Educators from the MSEA is a free document which includes key strategies and simple ways to integrate trauma-informed practices into regular classroom life. There are also several online courses available from the Center for Safe and Resilient Schools and Workplaces. Which course is the right fit depends on your position and also your background. Support for students exposed to trauma, SSET, is an appropriate choice for most classroom staff. Books can also be a helpful resource. Brain-Changing Strategies to Trauma-Proof Our Schools by Maggie Klein and Trauma Through a Child's Eyes by Peter Levine and Maggie Klein include case studies and age-appropriate activities for all grade levels that can support prevention and healing of trauma. Thanks for joining me on today's Patent Pop-Up Practice, where practice makes progress, produced by Kat Zimmerman. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more.